June 2020, there are some notes from meetings that show that tech platforms would be asked to, quote, process reports and provide timely responses to include the removal of reported misinformation from the platform where possible. Now, I know people on the left are going to say, well, yeah, get rid of misinformation. Okay, we've always made the argument, who defines misinformation?
Exactly.
For example, I'm not saying that Democrats are Nazis, but in 1930s, 1940s Germany, misinformation was saying, oh, no, hold on a second, Jews aren't responsible for all the diseases and poverty. That would have been misinformation.
Yeah.
Off you go. Misinformation at some points in this country would have been, oh, no, hold on a second, black people are not inferior to white people. They deserve the same rights. Remember, the Republican Party had to push that with the Civil Rights Act. That would have been considered misinformation. Misinformation at one time would have been, whoa, hold on a second. Maybe that person was not a right-wing extremist, for example, in Las Vegas. That would have been misinformation. Misinformation would have been, whoa, hold on a second. Maybe lockdowns actually don't have a net positive effect, with now the WHO and CDC acknowledges. That would have been misinformation. When you allow the government to determine misinformation, and it's not being determined by any kind of objective standard, but what most benefits them at that moment in time, you've now relinquished power to effectively, if not evil, a selfish institution. This brings us to March 2022 in a meeting with tech companies put on by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. I'll just call them CISA. Laura Demlow, an FBI official, synonym useless, warned, we need a media infrastructure that is held accountable. We need to early educate the populace. Critical thinking seems to be a problem currently. Well, hold on a second, though. Critical thinking, like questioning, for example, experimental mRNA therapy. You may disagree with the conclusion, but is it not critical thinking to be critical of something like, wait, do you mean critical thinking like saying, hey, hold on a second, I don't think that lockdowns are a good idea? Do you mean critical thinking like saying, well, hold on a second, I don't necessarily know that this came from a bat sandwich. Seems like this might have been engineered in a lab. You may disagree with the conclusion, but that is critical thinking. You don't want critical thinking. You want to ban critical thinking, as we see from more information here. June 2022. Vijaya Gad, however we pronounce it, I don't care, helped draft a report to CISA asking the agency to, quote, help shape the information ecosystem.
Well, and I'm sorry, we should have done a better job of helping you with the setup there. Former Twitter employee,
yes,
Vijaya Gad.
Well, I think everyone knows it.
Isn't the other day former employee?
It should be celebrated because it was so
right.
recent.
It was so recent. Yeah. That's true.
This person who was basically out there saying that we need to do more to censor. You and I actually had this moment where I think Facebook and everybody was called before a Senate committee, I believe is what it was, and they were looking at information being censored on the platform. We're like, oh, thank God, it's about time. And then that hearing goes on. I'm like, yeah, you should be doing more. We're like, son of a, I didn't think it was going to go that way.
No, who would have thought? I would love to have been a fly on that wall when Elon Musk walked into, how do I pronounce her name? Vijaya? It's like, hey, who are you? Who are you? I'm Vijaya. Well, what do you do? I work as a chief content officer at Twitter. No, you don't.
Yes. You mean old Twitter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you mean you did?
Yes.
Whose office is this?
So you are not native tongue, so sometimes your past sounds like present.
Yeah.
I don't know why my Elon Musk is Russian.
I think he made her office into the executive bathroom, essentially, for Elon.
Why are you in my toilet room?
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yes, get out.
I have brought sink to hit you.
Why are you taking my toilet paper? These are pictures of my family.
Old school.
By the way, hit the Rumble button again in this segment. It just helps with Rumble. Show Rumble that you want to be on their platform, interact, comment, give them some love. They're doing a lot of good work. All right, here's another fact that you need to know, and you guys are free to jump in whenever you want. There is, by the way, now a formalized process for the government to directly flag content to Facebook.
Oh, good.
And to Instagram. So government officials, and all references are available at letitcredit.com, can directly petition for content to be flagged, suppressed, removed. Now, we suspected this. Obviously, we've been talking about this for a long time. They've done it publicly, but now we know that it's been going on systemically behind the scenes for a long period of time. It's the difference between something acute versus chronic. And now we see that we are obviously having to deal with both. Here's another one. The DHS was, by the way, they were integral into shaping the 2020 election. So, remember we talked about the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, Rudy Giuliani, I remember we were all shocked when he showed that laptop on this show.
Yeah.
The first time it had ever been seen by the public. He's like, well, I have his laptop here with all this child pornography. We're like, whoa.
And then he showed Hunters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All this. I was like, is that's a laptop? Yeah, it's right here. This is his laptop. I'm like, what? You're just showing that? He's like, anyone can come. The FBI doesn't want. Do you want the laptop, Stephen? I'm like, no, I don't want the laptop. Well, you probably shouldn't because it's nothing but teenage pornography. It's disgusting. So the point is, it happened. It was on this show. We were directly involved with that. I don't plan to break news, but that story, Hunter Biden. It was 2 FBI agents from the San Francisco office. They were involved. These communications that led to censoring the Hunter Biden laptop story. I should say allegedly. By allegedly, I mean go read the documents, okay? Prior to, it's kind of like the Ashley Biden diary. Like, we don't know if it's true. Tell me it's not.
Her handwriting? Then maybe it's true.
Oh, what are you, a calligraphy major?
Yes.
You're in the penmanship club?
Yeah.
Okay, it's her diary.
Are you an election worker that has to look at a signature and compare it to another one really quickly?
Oh, don't spoil it.
It's my only job.
Spoiler alert much.
Yeah.
Now, prior to the election, the DHS flagged.
Take it seriously.
Did you see this number? 4,800 pieces of misinformation to tech companies.
Well, that's not a lot. It's only
The Department of Homeland Security flagged 4,800 pieces. And by the way, 35% of them, that's a good batting average,
yeah,
were removed or censored completely. On Twitter, I had people posting fake swastika tattoos and quotes of me saying, murder all the Jews. And I said, hey, that's not true. I didn't do that. They're like, well, we can't do anything. So to get 35% of 4,800 pieces removed, that is an unbelievable batting average. Now,
well, the Ayatollah liked the tweet.
Yes, he did.
That was interesting.
Yes, he did. He's also a big Lizzo fan. Now,
really, yeah.
we just to give you some context, okay? Some of this content that has been removed, we know for a fact, is ours. So here's an example. We received a hard strike. Now we've had 3 this year, but how it works is 90 days.
Yeah.
If you get 3 in 90 days, your account is removed. This one was a while ago from you. Apology accepted. Right now, the last 2 in these 90 days are Kerry Lake, and the more recent one where we don't know. We talked about Elon Musk. We still have no idea. But this was a strike that we received a while ago, which would have been flagged by the DHS based on the evidence that you see, where Gerald mentioned, and we sourced the CDC statistics on air regarding the flu and child mortality. This was why our account was suspended for 2 weeks last time.
And by the way, all the people who were saying that this was as deadly as the flu, the seasonal flu, they were right for people under 40.
Yes.
Right? And for people under 20, statistically 0% chance
It's actually
of dying.
much less deadly than the flu to young people. Now remember, this is why this is important. And this is, a lot of people, what was all that tape? What were we doing that day?
The COVID show.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a COVID show. Statistically 0 chance of
I think
dying
the whole
from the
theme
flu.
may have attributed to that.
Yes.
But I was right.
You were. No, you
100%
directly
correct.
quoted. Yeah, and then they actually released even more information that verified what you said.
Yeah, and
They confirmed it, by
Yes,
the way. And
yeah.
I don't know if you know this now. If you're sick and you go in, I would love for you to comment below. If you have been sick lately, the flu has been going around. Disappeared in 2020.
Wait. That's back?
I know.
First year, huh?
It's bringing coughing back.
Yeah, I can't believe it went away forever. I thought it was done.
I know. It's back now, and I knew 10 people who got the flu. And I know this because they were in a theater. They were in a show. And all of them got the flu. You know, it spreads. None of them were tested for COVID when they went in. None of them. Not one. Not one. If you are sick right now and you have gone into the doctor or you have gone into urgent care, please comment below. Did they test you for COVID? And how does it contrast with the testing for COVID back in 2021? See how you can manipulate statistics? If you just don't test for something, if you just don't ask that question in a poll, it's like it doesn't exist. Okay, more on this story. According to DHS's, their quadrennial Homeland Security review, they plan to target misinformation, this is again at The Intercept, related to the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. By the way, even Fauci said we don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's a conspiracy if Fauci, at his best, is saying we don't know, which means it absolutely originated
It was
in
a
the lab.
Yep, 100%.
U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, misinformation.
Bigger story than Benghazi, most likely, if we dig into it.
Meaning that it wasn't done very well. Americans were left. And not to mention helicopters, equipment. Another issue.
Don't forget cash. That's important.
Right?
Yeah.
The nature of U.S. support to
Dogs.
Ukraine. And my personal favorite, Racial justice. So misinformation related to racial justice. Now, keep in mind, and we're going to get to this right here. But I don't know if Carrie Lake is okay if we start maybe 5-10, because I would love to do this segment on Carrie Lake with Trevor Noah if we start 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later. Keep in mind, racial justice. We got a hard strike at this very show when we supported the police officer who stopped, who prevented a stabbing of a young black girl, Ma'Khia Bryant. This was another reason we were suspended. Here she is attempting to stab another girl before she is shot. I warn you, for people, this could be disturbing. It's not super clear and graphic, but still, the mere concept of this is disturbing.
Hey. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, get down, get down, get down.
Oh, I didn't know he'd come back to me.
Yeah.
It's because it's me there, then it's me here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think Ma'Khia Bryant was shot. That she was the person.
Sorry, Ma'Khia Bryant was shot, who was trying to stab another black girl.
The thing that you saw was a knife who had just been handed to her by, I believe, her father in the driveway just a minute or two.
And the officer was called by the girl who was about to be stabbed.
Yes.
The officer saying there's a girl grabbing a knife saying she's going to stab me. He showed up and she was like, I'm going to stab you.
It's a miracle.
They're like, how did you know she was going to stab her? Well, she had a knife and she said she was going to stab her repeatedly. So I figured she wasn't collecting
the cops saved the life of the person who wasn't acting violently.
Right.
That's one way to put it.
But that's the quandary. You shot a black person to save a black person. Well, let's just call it racist. So that was removed from YouTube, hard strike. And we also had another hard strike, CDC. But the most recent one was Carrie Lake, the interview with her, where she questioned some issues surrounding a primary election that she won. And then last week was a show regarding Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter. We still don't know exactly what it is. By the way, all of that banned content, we've consolidated the 2 strikes, put it into one video. It's available on Rumble right here. I think you have it at rumble.com/Steven Crowder. There you go. So you can go and watch it. We'll have it titled The Banned Content from YouTube so you can see exactly what it is that resulted in the ban. We want you guys to see, judge for yourself if it's ban worthy. Okay, so this brings us to YouTube giving us the boot. Now, let me give you my conspiracy. Let me give you some numbers and then I'll give you an inference. Okay. So they suspended us. We know that. Okay. They've cited violating the harassment, threats, cyberbullying policy. I don't know what threats. No idea. Again, this is a second strike in 90 days. That's why we will not be streaming to YouTube, because we don't want the account to be removed. We're doing it exclusively on Rumble. Okay. Here's why YouTube, here's an argument that I would make. Okay. And you guys all know that we don't really do this a lot. I don't like extolling the numbers. People who go out there and say, #1 show, look how popular we are. I think it's relevant to this story, especially as we go into an election. To put a finer point on it, Carrie Lake is going to win the governorship. And they removed a viral interview with Carrie Lake. One of the first viral interviews. It was an interview that was actually used in attack ads against Carrie Lake in the state of Arizona. Mm-hmm. So it's not outside the realm of plausibility that if the left is using it, these PACs are using it in attack ads, and they're communicating with big tech that there are some text messages going on there. So, finer point, interview with Carrie Lake, about to win a governorship, who, by the way, would be bad for big tech, probably implement some kind of a law like Texas and Florida where you can sue big tech for censorship of political point of view. They want her gone. Okay. And we're out 2 weeks leading up to and including the election, and more people in 2020 watched this show, me at this desk, this show on election night than any other program, period. News, television, online, podcast, period. So here's why I think the numbers are relevant. Over the last 30 shows that we've done, 119 million total views, just to give you an idea. Okay, 30 shows, 119 million total views, and that doesn't include the Rumble or Mug Club numbers, I don't think. Maybe it includes Rumble, doesn't include the Mug Club numbers. And in the last 30 days alone, leading up to the ban, over 54 million views on YouTube at a very long watch time. We're going to be approaching the 100 million number within a 30-day period, and we had 119 over 30 shows. I said because no one else does that. And I don't say that because I'm boastful. I'm incredibly grateful and humbled. That's because of you. You could pick anywhere, and you choose to watch with us, and so many of you choose to follow us here on Rumble. I cannot thank you enough. And you know what? Carrie Lake can come here on this show on Rumble today, and there's still a significant enough viewership that it matters. Even outside of YouTube, you can see the numbers right now. You can do a test as you see Carrie Lake on this show. Take that number, double it when you're taking into account Mug Club. Now, as it relates to the elections, the recent elections, 2020, we had over 16 million total views. Minimum across the two streams on Facebook and YouTube. I say minimum because it was removed on Facebook. We don't know the number on Facebook. At a minimum, 16 point something million. Would have been far higher if the stream was not taken down on Facebook. Now, biggest election stream that existed, if you search Steven Crowder 2020 election, or I'm sure you could type in louder with Crowder 2020 election, what do you get? Do you get the most popular election stream from 2020? No, you get low view count criticism of this channel, of this program, of our stream as the first results. Hey, I thought the algorithm was designed to serve the viewer. Our actual video of that election is not even on the first page. Knowing what we know now about the DHS, knowing that we've been struck because of Gerald quoting the CDC, knowing that they removed a current gubernatorial candidate who was likely going to win for questioning the primaries of an election that she won, and knowing the numbers of this show, would it stand to reason that they don't want us to be live streaming the election, or really cranking up the intensity as it comes to election time? When you're talking about many billions of plays across platforms, you have made an impact. You have made an impact. We only exist because of you. And we're not beholden to YouTube advertisers. That's why we're able to do it here. It's fun. It's a little more relaxed. They don't want you there.
Yeah, and I can't believe that they had the balls to do this, by the way, right before an election, coming after one of the largest platforms, period, but the largest platform that's going to be having the people like Carrie Lake on and giving them even more of a voice in politics leading up to the election, then doing an election live stream. You should have bit your tongue, YouTube. If we stepped on any gray lines that you have created, intentionally gray, so that you can just kind of say willy-nilly we want to ban you, you shouldn't have done it right now. You just fanned the flame.
Yeah.
You basically just showed people that you were willing to do stuff like this. And are we surprised with the Hunter Biden laptop story? We've covered this before. People would have changed their minds. We've asked people before. They've had polling on this. They would have changed their minds if that Hunter Biden laptop story had not been suppressed and removed.
Right. Well, let me give you another example here. And I'm using our numbers here because I think this is important, because then policy changed. For example, I said Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. We need to change my mind. That had over 10 million plays just on YouTube. Now you're not allowed to say that on YouTube. You can be removed. Rape culture is a myth. Change my mind. 14 million plays. Okay. Then we did, for example, where I crashed a feminist film festival in my underwear that had 31 million plays.
It was because of the underwear.
Yeah, it was because of the underwear.
Did you have a
Luckily,
hammer?
No, he did not. Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going.
That's a lot of nut.
I did have to put on 2 pairs of underwear because I went and bought a pair of briefs at Dollar Tree.
Yes.
They're not.
Because I thought briefs was funnier than
They're
the
a bit
underwear that I wear,
see-through.
right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, ooh, this is basically saran wrap.
Yeah, Dollar Tree's no good.
So I wore
underwear.
2 or 3 pairs of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we were safe.
The Vietnamese rash that came with them.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. You wouldn't be able to do this if not for the fact that we were, I guess, sort of legacied in, backdoored in. There are only 2 genders, changed my mind, 44 million plays. You cannot say that now. Misgendering is a violation of YouTube's hate and harassment policies. So you get 44 million people who tune in. Then YouTube says, ooh, this is gaining traction. We're now going to make that against the rules, even though they're legally not allowed to do that because they are a platform. And so the end result is when they change the policy, and we work around it, let's just remove this channel as it leads into election time. Why do I think that's the case? Because all of the DHS text messages and emails that you can now check at louderwithcrowder.com. Wonderful work from The Intercept. There is no guesswork anymore. They are doing this, they are removing content, and we have been removed, and the interview with Carrie Lake has been removed going into an election. This is, without a doubt, election meddling. You don't need to deal with Russians buying Facebook ads. You don't need to deal with Dominion. This is enough. Silencing the Hunter Biden laptop story, sure, and that's terrible. Silencing a gubernatorial candidate and the biggest conservative channel that could effectively communicate the message leading up to election time, that